Hello everyone, welcome to Australia. Welcome to Australian Book Travels and welcome to this week's book recommendation and chit chat. I always love a chit chat, you know that. Today is Sunday. I'm filming this and I will be uploading it for you for tomorrow, Monday. So if I get my days all mixed up, you'll understand why. I'm actually speaking to you from the past, but I'm talking to you in the future. It has been incredibly hot, everyone. Even though it is now officially autumn, we have experienced probably the hottest part of our summer this last week or two. I don't think we have had anything under about 35 degrees. Today it has cooled down to a lovely 27 degrees. It is overcast and it is threatening to rain. So I wanted to warn you, because if I jump up and I scream for joy, you will know why. We are just on tenterhooks, hoping that it will absolutely pour down. We have heard from relatives in Melbourne that it is really raining there. It has been raining all night. Mark tells me that it looks on the radar as though it's going to bypass us. So I'm going to go halfway and be positive about it all, and I think it's going to rain. It did tinkle a little bit just a few moments ago, but it really didn't hit the ground and it stopped. So there are dark clouds I can see. What I will do is I will fill some of the dark clouds and that for you after this video. But yeah, there are a few dark clouds, but I'm just hoping they don't blow over and miss us altogether. Anyway, it is cooler. It's 27 degrees, so I'm feeling a lot more comfortable, even though the house is still warm and it is still a little muggy, but at least it's a bit cooler. Before we get into the books, a couple of things. I've had HarperCollins and Echo Publishing send me a few books this week. I think 3 between them. So I will be reading those and getting those out to you perhaps in the next week or two. And Fremantle Press have informed me that they'll be sending me a parcel shortly with a few books as well. So I'm really excited because these will be new books, new novels that are coming out that will be available to you, and I can read them and tell you how good they are and give you a little bit of a lowdown. So I'm excited about that. The other thing is Mark and I are still working on the renovation channel. We're still in the very early stages of working out how we will present it, how we will process it, what equipment we want and need for the renovation, and also to be able to film it. So I'm excited about that, but it will probably be a couple of months before we have another channel connected to this one. Mark and I also this morning, we were talking about perhaps in the future still splitting this one. We think we may leave Australian Book Travels as it is just for the travel videos, and then ask all of you who are interested in the book recommendations to move to a new channel that we will initiate. And it will just be like this, but it will be a book recommendation video on its own once a week on a Monday. So we're still thinking about splitting this channel. We're thinking it would be better for the content. It's not getting enough exposure, and we really do want Australia, both the books and the country towns and businesses in Australia, to get the exposure that they deserve. And we don't want to inhibit that in any way. So we do think, we'll keep you informed, obviously, but we do think it will be a matter of having to split this one. We'll keep Australian Book Travels, but we think because it has the word travels in it, we think we'll just leave this as a travel video and then ask all of you who are interested in the book recommendations to then subscribe to a new wholly and solely book recommendations. And then I can give you a bit more of a lowdown on the connections and the relationship that we have with our publishers and all of those other sort of nitty-gritties that would interest book people alone. So we are thinking we may still have to split this channel, but I will keep you informed. Do let me know what you think about that. And as book lovers, would you be okay with just subscribing to a new channel that we will make that will be exactly like this, but we will really discuss the books in a lot more detail? Not necessarily the stories, but just the writing and the authors and the publishers. I just think that will probably interest a lot more of you and not confuse the algorithms with YouTube. So we're still, as you can tell, we're still in that phase of what do we do and how best do we promote Australia and Australian authors and publishers. And we want to do the best that we can. So, and we want to give you the best content that is not inhibited in any way or controlled in any way by, let's say, the travel videos. Anyway, let me know what you think, everyone. I would appreciate it. Okay, so I've told you that, the channel, the weather. Oh, something exciting happened, not yesterday, the day before. Our dam is very, very low. It's probably, well, it looks just to be like a puddle in the dam. It's probably 1/8 of its capacity. We are really desperate for rain, everyone. But the day before yesterday, I was out in the chicken coop and I just thought I'd have a little look at, see how Punk was doing, our pig, and went to visit her. We do that a few times a day anyway, but I was just outside, so I thought I'll have a look at Punk, see how she is. And I noticed the lace monitor that we had here, and I did let you all know in the book recommendations quite a few months ago, we had a lace monitor in our garden. Well, it must be the same one. I saw him or her running from the dam, obviously trying to get water because we're all desperate for water, trying to get water, and then he or she ran they are so fast, I couldn't believe it, ran really fast from the dam across the field and up one of our gum trees. On our property, we have a little remnant forest of eucalypts, and the property we have sort of split in half with a fence, and the remnant forest is in one corner of the property, and then there's a few trees just in front of that leads into the forest, and this lace monitor must be living there because he or she ran up the tree. It was really exciting, and they are so fast. So I just wanted to let you know that the lace monitor is still around. We're really excited about that. And the brown snake, touch wood, the brown snake has not been seen for a while, for a good while actually, but we're still not taking chances in the heat with ourselves or with the dogs. They tend not to go around near the horses too much because the horses are loud on the ground. So they stay away from the horses. They don't seem, the snake, touch wood, we haven't seen the snake around Punk, our pig. So that's good. And the chickens we have snake-proof wire all the way around. So I shouldn't say it, should I? I really shouldn't preempt it, but we haven't not seen a snake in 10, 11 years that we've had the chicken run. But maybe I shouldn't say that, so I'll just leave it. Zip the mouth, I think. Okay, everyone, that's an update. Oh, I did go to Melbourne actually this week again. I caught up with another 2 girlfriends, both school friends. We had a lovely lunch. And it was just lovely. It's really, as you know, I love train travel, so I went in by train, and I always enjoy that journey. I enjoy the freedom of just walking around. I normally have a backpack or a trolley because, of course, I do buy books and other bits and pieces. But this week I went with a backpack. I did take my camera with me for future videos, future episodes on the channel. But yeah, it was a really lovely day. I looked at a few books and bought a few books as well, but they were on special, so I can't be reprimanded for that because they were on special. But I bought a few books and a couple of other little things, so it was lovely. It was a really lovely time. I enjoy I wouldn't like to live around Melbourne. It is, it's too many people and there's too much congestion and there's just too much commercialism and all of that. But I do like visiting. I enjoy, as I say, I enjoy the journey, but I also enjoy particular shops. The independent shops I really love, and the independent bookshops as well. But yeah, I love the old architecture. As you may be aware from the channel, Mark and I really enjoy not only wildlife and native vegetation, but we love history. I'm a real history buff, but we also really appreciate that beautiful historic architecture. So I love Melbourne for that, to see the old buildings. It's beautiful. Okay, everyone, I have 3 here that you may be interested in. I hope you're interested in, because they really are actually there's 4, sorry. They are 3 novels that I recommend and 1 other book that I'll tell you about. I hope this is not glaring. I hope the sun's not glaring. Perhaps I should try and do this without my goggles, everyone. If I make a mistake or squint, we'll have to put the spectacles on. But I've noticed in some of the videos that there's a bit of glare for you. So I'd prefer that you see my eyes and not the glare. So I'll try and do this, everyone. Oh, it's going to get ugly. Okay. Uh-oh, already I can't see. Hang on. Okay, so this is Double Day. This is 3 Women and a Boat by Anne Youngson. Now, I will put on my spectacles to see the year. I can't remember, I cannot remember when this was published. I think it was published in 2020. Yes, so it was a few years ago. I read it this last week. Did I read it this last week or last week, perhaps? This is clearly a take on 3 Men in a Boat by Jerome K. Jerome, that was written in the late 1880s. 1889, I think, from memory, if it's in the back here correctly. I'm just going through the filing system. I think it was 1889, but I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll let you know in the subtitles. So this is obviously a modern obviously a different gender update on 3 Men in a Boat. This is 3 Women and a Boat. Everyone, I can hear rain. Oh, I'm a bit excited. Okay, I'll try and calm down and finish this video, but I will take some footage if it's really good rain. Sure, I can hear it. Okay, sorry. So 3 Women and a Boat. It is beautifully written. It is truly beautifully written. It's funny, witty. I enjoyed this. It is about 3 women who get together. I think, let me just remember their names, or get their names here. Yes, Eve, Sally, and Anastasia. They're on Anastasia's boat. And then the narrowboat in the canals in England. So this is, as was 3 Men in a Boat, although that was more along rivers and things. But this is 3 women who get together. They all have their own stories, and they're interesting stories. It's fiction, by the way, but really well written and really witty. I recommend it. If you're wanting a bit of fun and just a really nice story and stories within the story from these 3 women, I recommend this. The cover is beautiful as well, and this is published by Double Day. Now, I can't remember how many pages. Oh, 324. It felt like it was 300, but yeah, it's 324. Really good story, everyone. I recommend it. This is 3 Women and a Boat, Anne Youngson, fairly much a take on 3 Men in a Boat by Jerome Jerome in the late 1800s. I recommend this. I loved it. I really loved it. I had a giggle, and it was just a lovely story. Absolutely recommend it. Do yourself a favour. Now, this one is an Australian. This is Searching for Charlotte by Kate Forsyth and Belinda Murrell, who are related through Charlotte. This is a true story. Kate and Belinda, they're both well-known Australian novelists. Some of you will know Kate and Belinda. The inside end paper is just beautiful, a reflection of the flowers on the front cover there. Now this is Belinda and Kate, who have, let me just see the publisher. Let me just tell you who the publisher is. It's the NLA, which is the publishing imprint of the National Library of Australia. This was published in 2020. This is Kate and Belinda looking for their grandmother, or discovering more about their great-great-great-great-great-grandmother, I think it is. Hang on, let me just double check that. I'm sure it might be on the back. No, it's not on the back. Oh, yes. Their great-great-great-great-grandmother. And she was actually, their grandmother, who was, I read this a while ago, everyone, so you'll have to bear with me. And I'm a bit excited about the rain, so I am a little distracted, which is a bit naughty, isn't it? I should be wholly and solely concentrating on my novels. So hang on just one moment. It's Charlotte de Waring Atkinson. She was actually the first children's author in Australia. And they found out that their great-great-great-great-grandmother, Charlotte, was her. She was the first children's novelist published in Australia. It has beautiful photos of relatives and themselves as they go through, and obviously places where they have lived and the family have lived in Australia and elsewhere. There are some illustrations, and all of these are relevant to their search and research of their great-great-great-great-grandmother. This is really interesting. If you're wanting to know a little bit more about Australian literature and the history of novelists in Australia and female writers in Australia, I recommend this. And Belinda and Kate are well-known novelists themselves here in Australia. So it's just, it's a win-win-win-win, isn't it? We're getting the whole story. We're getting the Australian story. It's a true story. We're getting that history about a female Australian novelist by two well-known Australian novelists, and worldwide novelists. So that I recommend. Do yourself a favour and definitely read that if you're wanting to know a little bit about history and Australian literature. Right, another Australian, and a lot of you are going to be impressed with this as well. This is The Scent of Oranges by Kathy George. All of these have absolutely beautiful covers. Look at them. They're just beautiful. Three women they're just beautiful, really. Now, this is, I have to get my spectacles on again. I know there's going to be a bit of glare, so I'm sorry, everyone. Now, this is, The Searching for Charlotte was also, it has references and notes and afterwards and about 270 pages. This is around about the same. It's about 359 pages. And I think this was 2025. I think this one's this year. Hang on just one moment. 2024. It must have been late last year. 2024 by HQ Books, an imprint of HQ Books. It's HQ Fiction, which is HarperCollins. Okay, so this is a telling of Nancy from Oliver Twist, a very empathic person, but in story, character, this tells her side of the Oliver Twist story. Australian author, but she's giving us another side of Oliver Twist, Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist. And you know Charles Dickens is my absolute favourite author of all time. This is written almost as though Charles Dickens has written it himself. It is absolutely beautiful. It is beautifully written. The story is wonderful. As I say, it is written from the view of Nancy, who is one of the characters in Oliver Twist. And it's just beautiful. It is beautifully written, and it is a wonderful take on Nancy's story and how she views the other characters and the story of Oliver Twist. I recommend this. As I say, Australian author, absolutely brilliant. I hope she writes more based on Charles Dickens' characters, because I think she does it beautifully. I'm very careful when I read other authors who claim to write on behalf of other authors, deceased authors normally, obviously, and they write with the same characters, famous characters in the stories, or they try to emulate the original author. Oftentimes it doesn't work. Kathy is not trying to do that. It doesn't feel as though she's trying to do that. She's taken a character from Charles Dickens and looking at it from her side. But in actual fact, Kathy writes a modern version of Charles Dickens. I mean, she's done it really, really well. And I recommend this. If you enjoy Charles Dickens' writing, if you loved Oliver Twist, this is definitely, and how proud we should be that an Australian has written this. It is beautiful, really good. I recommend it. I won't tell you any more than that. As you know, I try not to tell you too much about what's contained in the novels, unless, of course, it's history. But there are a few, even in Searching for Charlotte, there are a few twists and turns in this, but it's a true story. But I don't like to tell you the novels. I mean, we all know Oliver Twist to an extent, but this is a really good take. I love this. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Now, this next one, you all know I love cooking. I am a vegetarian, and so I picked this up actually the other day when I was in Melbourne. I picked it up. It was on special, and there's still a little tag on it, so I'll just take that off. Sorry, everyone. I thought I'd taken all the tags off. So this is Vegetables from an Italian Garden, Season by Season Recipes. This is published by, I'll tell you who it's published by. This is Italian Recipes, and it's Faden, but I think it's this, I think it was this year, everyone. Hang on, I could be wrong. I only picked it up this week, and I've had a look through it, and it's just impressed me so much. Well, it doesn't matter. It's not telling me urgently what I need to know, so, but I'm fairly sure it's relatively new. And it has, with all the index and everything, it's 430 pages. It is a hardcover. It is absolutely beautiful. But what impressed me about this, I will try to show you. We have sections that are recessed. I don't know if you can see that, but there are sections that are recessed in the pages, and this is the reason why. Because we have a section on spring vegetables, and the pages are shorter than the recipe pages, if that makes sense. There are photos and stories about the vegetables for spring, and so too with winter, autumn and summer. So you get those shorter pages where it tells you about the vegetables and we have a whole list of vegetables that we plant and that we harvest in spring. And then in the normal size pages, we have all of the recipes. So when I bought it, when I flicked through it to buy, I thought that was really a clever way. I know some cookbooks do that. I do have a couple with similar, a similar way of presenting vegetables to cook. But this, and these are mainly Italian, of course, from an Italian garden, but I just thought this was a lovely way of presenting it and gave us a list of all the vegetables that we can use in the particular season. And of course, they're vegetarian dishes. Not all of them. They're not all vegetarian dishes. There are recipes where they suggest that season's vegetables to place with meat, but essentially a vegetable cookbook. It is absolutely beautiful. It's quite weighty, but it's a good size too, just to have on your cooking table or on to rest. I don't know if you can hear that, everyone, but it is raining. Oh my goodness, that is so exciting. I'm going to have to film some of that for you once I've finished here. It is such a relief. That is absolutely one. I just hope it continues. Fingers crossed, everyone, that it continues. I don't care if it rains all day and all night. It can do that. We prefer it that it rains just steadily so that we're not flooded out. The ground is so dry, there is the risk that the rain will just wash off the surface of the ground. So this is lovely. It looks very steady. I'm so happy. So anyway, this looked really good. This one's on special. I actually bought this from Dimmicks for $10, and I think the normal price was about $75. So it was $9.99. So if you are in Melbourne at the moment and you're going to Melbourne this week, it was on the specials table, $9.99. And I think the normal price is around about $70 or $75. As most cookbooks are, they're around about that sort of price. But this was an absolute bargain, and I love the recipes. I had a look at all the recipes and they just look scrumptious. So I can't wait to try them. And perhaps I will try them and bring you along with me in the kitchen. We might try a few recipes. That might be something for the future. But yes, if you're in Melbourne or you're going to Melbourne very quickly, very soon, I recommend going into Dimmicks in their special section, and this was $9.99. An absolute bargain and a beautiful. The other thing I really like about it too is that each season has their own colour ribbon. So you could actually make a few recipes at a time and look at a few recipes at a time and mark them accordingly. So I really like that too, and they're all different colours representing the different seasons, which was good. I love it. So I thought that was beautifully presented. Scent of Oranges, Kathy George. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so I'm a bit blind. The scent, absolutely beautiful. A take from one of the characters and her take on the story of Oliver Twist, and she is a character from Oliver Twist. Absolutely brilliant. Searching for Charlotte by two famous, well-known Australian authors, Belinda Murrell and Kate Forsyth. Searching for Charlotte. It's a true story, historical, photos and documentation. Really is a good story about Australia's first published a children's author. And Three Women and a Boat, a take on Jerome K. Jerome's Three Men in a Boat by Anne Youngson. Absolutely brilliant. I loved it. It was a great comfy read. It was funny. I enjoyed it. I really recommend it. So I do, as always, I only really try to give you the novels that I recommend and the cookbooks I recommend, and I definitely recommend all of these. So if you don't already, definitely pop them on your to-be read pile. Okay, everyone, I know it's dark in here because it's overcast, and I'm enjoying it because it has been really horrendously hot and horrendously bright. This house is very bright. We have a lot of windows, and that's lovely. But when it is that burning sun, we do have to pull all of the blinds down in the house. Even though we have very wide verandas, the sun, particularly this is on the west side, this room is on the west side, and in the afternoon and the evening the sun just really hits through here. So for most of summer we do have our blinds down in the house just to help keep it cool, because we don't use air conditioning. We use fans, but we don't use air conditioning. So we do, and that's for a number of reasons. That's for environmental reasons, and also because we don't like going from freezing cold room out into the really hot weather when we're moving around. So we just think if we can tolerate the heat or the cold, we have a heater in winter, but there seems to be more of a difference in temperature and more of an ability to get sick if you're in a freezing cold air-conditioned room and then you go out into the Australian summer. It can be really disastrous. So we try not to do that. So it's probably a little bit dark. I'll see how their lighting looks. I didn't want to put a light on in here. I do have camera lights, but I just thought to leave it as natural as possible. And then you don't get too much reflection. So yeah, that's it, everyone. I think I'm looking forward to this next week. We will have a video on Saturday as always, and then I will see you next Monday for our book recommendation. And hopefully I will have read a couple of the HarperCollins and Echo publishing books that I have on my top of my to be read pile, so that I can get those out to you before they are released. That's it. I think everything, the boys are not in this room. The dogs are in another room by a cool window. We've opened up all of the windows so that the breeze, we have cross ventilation, and they are by a window with Mark, who is working in another room. So they're all together just enjoying the cool breeze from one of the windows, which is lovely. I'm just so excited that it's raining. So although it has stopped a bit now, but hopefully it'll just be on and off throughout the day. Anyway, everyone, I hope you have had a lovely week. I hope you have looked after yourself and you've read if you've wanted to, and if you haven't been able to, no matter. There's always tomorrow. And I will see you next episode, whenever that may be. And hopefully you'll have a lovely week, and hopefully it cools down here in Australia. I know in the Northern Hemisphere you are enjoying the first start of spring. Congratulations, it's wonderful. Spring is one of my favourite. Spring and autumn I think are my favourite, although I do love winter as well. But anyway, spring is definitely beautiful because it encourages new life. It is about new life and new beginnings. So congratulations, Northern Hemisphere. And we of course are going into our we are in our autumn and we're going into our winter, which is lovely too. I love it. I love the falling leaves and the rain. I love the rain. Okay, I will see you next episode, whenever that is for you, whenever you enjoy watching these videos, and we will have a bit more of a think about the channels. So stay tuned, everyone. Okay, look after yourselves. Take care. Happy reading. Safe travels. Bye for now.